my top sources tell Republic that role of coaching centers is under scrutiny. Action has been initiated. Some Bihar-based coaching centers had played a negative role a couple of months ago as well in the railway recruitment-related violence. And now, based on social media scanning, those coaching centers are under scanner again. In fact, sources tell us from the top levels in the government that these coaching centers who have taken money from these aspirants might have played some role in inciting this violence by getting these youngsters or misleading these youngsters about the possibility of them getting or not getting in the armed forces based on the Agnipath recruitment scheme that has been announced by the government, because of which these misled youth perhaps indulged in some violence. That's a big one coming out with the Bihar-based coaching centers under lens now. I think Piyush Mishra joins us live, who has covered the story all day and was at the press conference, the Trial Services press conference, where the top leadership of the armed forces came out in defense of the scheme. Piyush, preliminary investigation in the violence that happened over the last 2 days reveals that some coaching centers, particularly those in Bihar, were perhaps involved in inciting the youth. Are you getting to hear something on those lines? And what is the government doing to clamp down, not just on the vandals, but also those who motivated the youngsters?
Well, Abhishek, there are two aspects of this entire story. What we are now given to understand is that the role of these coaching centers are being investigated. Like you yourself pointed out, that during the last time when the agitation had broken out on railway recruitment, at that time also various coaching centers had come under the lens of the authorities. At that time, you would also remember that Khan sir, very famous Khan sir, who is from Bihar, in fact, he was also facing a lot of investigation. In fact, the government later on had to ask him to request the students not to indulge in violent activities. Now, today, the press conference which was done by Defense Ministry, by all the trial services, in that press conference, it was categorically pointed out towards the coaching centers, and especially in Bihar, that they have a very important role as far as the violence which is breaking out there. And but sources are now suggesting us that the local police is now keeping a close watch on the coaching centers. Remember that there was a report of a coaching institute owner who is on run, and the police is looking for him. So this is not the first time that the role of coaching center has been surfaced. Earlier also this has happened. Today, once again, press conference was done by Trial Services, where it was assured to all the aspirants that it is a welfare scheme for all the people who want to take part in Agnipath scheme. In fact, the government has been trying to allay all the concerns of the aspirants. Many ministries have already made it very clear that after the completion of tenure of Agnipath, they would be absorbed in government services. In fact, many state governments where BJP government is there, they have also said that they would also be absorbed in state police. Today, while the press conference was being done by Trial Services, they had also requested to all the state governments, irrespective of the party rules there, they have requested to all the state governments to give priority to Agnipath in state police. So not only these, there are multiple ministries. Those are pointed out in today's presentation, which was also given by Ministry of Defense, be it Ministry of Home Affairs, Ministry of Civil Aviation, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Culture. There were multiple ministries. Those were also pointed out there, where the Agnipath can get jobs after they complete their tenure. But we are seeing as to how the violence continues to take place, the propagation of misinformation continues to take place, and that we also saw. Yes, Abhishek.
Piyush, also since you were there at the press conference by the Trial Services top leadership, if you can tell us whether all these people who are indulging in arson and violence, they will have to follow a certain mechanism in which they will have to give a pledge that they have not done anything which gets reflected in their character certificate. For example, they have not indulged in any arson and violence, that their records with the police are clean.
You know that army is a professional organization, and this is what has also been said by the top leadership of trial services during the press conference. The top leadership also mentioned about the fact that all the aspirants would not have to take part in any kind of arson or violence. It's not about the current violence which is underway, but also they should not have any kind of criminal background. This was what said by top leadership. In fact, Lieutenant General Anil Puri, who was addressing the press conference, he also mentioned about the fact that we certainly would dig deep into the background of all the aspirants. We would certainly look into the certificates those would be issued by the local police, by the state police from where the aspirant is coming, and then only we would give green signal to aspirant who he or she looking forward to join the army. So it was made it very, very clear that aspirants who are looking forward to become the part of Agnipath scheme should not indulge in any kind of arson or violence, and it's not about that they are in
All right. I think there's some audio issue there with Piyush. He has been reporting all day on this story. But there is an important element, an unfortunate element. All right, we are trying to connect with Piyush. There is some audio issue there, connectivity problem perhaps from where he's reporting. And the pictures are of violence and arson that took place last 2 days. There have been no incidents reported today of this kind of arson. These are pictures from the day before. And what is important is that the government machinery is getting into action and making sure that those who have tried to malign the image. All right, Piyush, since we are discussing the possibility of action against coaching centers, you think there was an attempt made to malign the image of these young aspirants who would be becoming Agniveers and joining the defense forces, and thus, in fact, compromise the image of the entire armed forces, and hence, it's very important that those guilty should be brought to book at the earliest.
Direct message which was sent by top leadership of trial services. In fact, we have also seen the roles of a few political parties also where they were seen provoking the aspirants. Yesterday, the Saharanpur top officer had come out and he had also told us that how there were some leaders who were connected with few political parties arrested by the local police, and that was because they were provoking the aspirants who are also to take part in Agnipath scheme. So at one side, strong actions are being taken. On the other side, today, all the trial services have also told to aspirants not to indulge in any kind of arson or violence. In fact, like you rightly pointed out, that it is very important for aspirants to understand that they should believe in the kind of information those are being given by the government and not in myths those are being propagated by few elements. We have also seen how few political parties are coming out and trying to spread the misinformation. That also needs to be busted. This is what the government believes, and that is why yesterday, Abhishek, you would remember how the information of broadcasting had also released myths versus facts, and it was told to aspirants to go by what the government was telling to them. Now we'll have to wait and watch what steps the government is going to take. But so far, government has tried its best to allay all the differences, to solve the concerns those are there of the aspirants. In fact, the upper age limit was increased. The Ministry of Home Affairs has also said that all the Agniveers would have a 10% reservation in CAPF and Assam Rifles. There are multiple ministries who are going to give preferences to them. Corporate affairs have also said this. In fact, CII had also, issued an advertisement that they would be looking for Agnipath after they complete their tenure. So different organizations and government machineries are putting all the points forth, and it's important for all the aspirants to understand the benefits of this scheme and should not fall to the prey of the kind of misinformation campaigns those are being propagated by few elements. Those are trying to not only provoke the aspirants but also trying to spread the misinformation about this entire scheme.
Right, Piyush. Important developments there with the government getting cracking on those who incited these protests, and ultimately these protests getting hijacked by vandals and some antisocial elements as well. We'll hear more on that and more action that the government is planning, particularly on social media misuse, which is under scrutiny, and attempts being made to bring those involved and guilty to be brought to book at the soonest. Moving on, an important aspect of this entire story has been the massive politicization we have seen with the opposition panning the government